In today's Quickie, we are going to be looking at a really cool freeware program called the ROI Simulator. You can download this. You just Google ROI Simulator, or I'll also pull up the link now. It's a zshare.net link, so you can pause that and type it in, or again, just Google ROI Simulator, and you'll get it for free. Now, what it's going to do is we're going to tell it how many times we want the computer to play a certain number of games. And then we're going to see what not only the actual ROI based on EV is, but the simulated average ROI for this player. So let's say, for instance, a common easy stars buy-in is the 60, or we're going to have convenient prize amounts of 250, 150, and 100. Okay? Now, if you have an average player who's going to be winning each position in equal amount of time, and that player is going to be losing the rake, which we'll see. And so actual ROI minus 7.41%, and the simulated ROI is going to vary based on the simulations that computer is going to run. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say, let's suppose that we're actually going to be a slight winner. So if we go to, say, 12.4% for each position, we're going to be overcoming the rake and winning. And we'll see that our ROI is now going to be a bit over 3%, and the simulated one's going to vary. But what I'm interested in is, let's say at first that we only do one simulation. Okay, so what this is like is we're saying to the computer, pretend that the player with these results is playing one session of 100 games, and we're interested in what happens. Okay, so we can click. And what we're going to see is that over this 100-game sample, this player is pretty much all over the map. Okay, he's losing 10% ROI plus 25% ROI. And so, like you guys know, the actual ROI can be anything. Now, let's say instead we increase it to 500 games. It's going to converge a lot better, but it's still going to have a pretty wide range. So we're still seeing a bunch of different numbers for this player. And the same thing is going to hold at 1,000 games. Okay, so now it gets closer. Over 1,000 games, it's definitely less common for this player to lose, but I guarantee if I keep on clicking, this player is going to lose over 1,000 games, and there you go. And if we now go to 5,000 games, it's going to be definitely uncommon, but we did already see some values close to 0. And what that means is that, and here we go, now we have our first negative one. So if you're winning at a slight positive ROI, you can play 5,000 games and it is possible to lose. And that's just a fact of how swingy SNGs are. Now let's say that we increase the number of simulations, and now we're going to do 5,000 simulations. And it's going to give us data on the right about some averages for these simulations. Okay, so what we see, for instance, is the mode ROI for this player, like we expect, is around 2-3-4%, and 55% of the time the simulated ROI was 3% or higher. And what we see, though, is that over 1% of the time the simulated ROI was negative, and a full 11% of the time this player flat out breaks even over 5,000 games. Now, largest drop is another interesting one because its biggest ramification is in bankroll management. Okay, so we see that the mode values here are going to be somewhere between low 40s to about 90, or a bit over 90, and that the majority of the time this player does not drop 100 buy-ins. Okay, so 80% of these simulations, the player drops under 100 buy-ins, approximately. However, if you really don't want to go broke, and you're playing with a slight positive ROI, you need a huge bankroll. Okay, you actually need close to 200 buy-ins if you want to be 100%, or as close as you can, to completely sure that you're not going to go broke.